You're sitting quietly, just watching the world outside, when your phone buzzes. It's your child, the one who walked away years ago. Maybe they cut off contact. Maybe they said things that pierced your heart deeper than they know. And now, out of nowhere, they're reaching out again. "Hi, Mom, just thinking about you." Or maybe it's, "Hey, Dad, can we talk?" Your heart skips, your mind races. You wonder, after all this time, after all the silence, why now? Is it guilt? Is it love? Is it real? And if you're like many seniors I've spoken to, that one message can stir up a storm of emotions. Joy, anger, hope, hurt, maybe all at once. And for a split second, you might find yourself thinking, should I let them back in? But here's the thing. When a child who left wants to come back, it's not just about opening your front door. It's about protecting your peace, your dignity, your heart. Because being older doesn't mean being more vulnerable. It means being wiser. And that wisdom starts with asking the right questions. You see, love doesn't erase history. Forgiveness doesn't erase patterns. And before you give your child a second chance at your life, your trust, your home, there are a few things you deserve to know first. The first question is simple, but it's not always easy to ask. Why now? You'd be surprised how powerful those two words are. Say them out loud if you need to. Why now? Why not last year? Or 5 years ago when you spent holidays alone? Why not when you called and left voicemails they never returned? Why now? And I don't mean that in a bitter way. I mean it in a clear, grounded, honest way. Because timing tells a story. Maybe they're in a tough spot. Emotionally, financially, maybe even legally. And maybe they're turning to you, not because they value you, but because they need something from you. I know that hurts to even consider. But if you're over 60, you've probably lived long enough to know. Not every outstretched hand is reaching out in love. Sometimes it's reaching out for convenience, security, or just a place to land until things get better. And if that's the case, you deserve to know, because you are not a backup plan. You are not a safety net. You are a whole person with a heart that's been through enough. So when you ask, why now? Don't just listen to their words. Watch their eyes. Listen to their tone. Does it come from regret or from desperation? Are they showing up with humility, or are they hoping you'll forget everything that happened before? And when you've asked why now, the next question becomes just as important. What are you expecting from me? Because intentions matter, but expectations matter more. If they say, I just want to reconnect, ask what that looks like to them. Does that mean living with you again? Borrowing money? Getting help with their kids, their bills, their messes? You have a right to know what they're really asking for. Not just emotionally, but practically. Because sometimes, I want to come back really means I want to pick up where I left off. As if no time, no pain, no disrespect ever happened. And the truth is, that's not fair to you. You're not the same person you were when they left. You've had to build strength, cope with disappointment, and maybe even learn how to live without the hope of reconciliation. That takes real courage. So when they show up again, you don't owe them anything. Not explanations, not space in your home, not access to your time or money. What you do owe to yourself is clarity. Clarity about what they want and what you're truly willing to give. And sometimes that answer changes depending on the day, the season, or even the sound of their voice. That's okay. But don't guess. Don't assume. Ask. What are you expecting from me? Is not cold. It's not harsh. It's respectful to both of you. It allows them to be honest. And it allows you to decide with eyes wide open, instead of reacting from old feelings or automatic guilt. Because guilt is a heavy coat, and you don't need to wear it anymore. You've earned the right to protect your peace. Now I know some of you might be thinking, but they're still my child, no matter what. And yes, that bond, that lifelong connection is real. But love doesn't mean putting yourself in harm's way. Love means setting boundaries that honor both people. And here's something else to think about. Do they see you as a person or just a parent? That distinction matters a lot. You see, when we raise our children, we pour everything into them. Time, energy, money, love, sleepless nights, broken hearts, sacrifices that no one ever sees. And somewhere along the line, they can forget that we are people too. People with limits, needs, and dreams of our own. If your child wants to come back into your life, ask yourself, do they see who you are today? Do they recognize your health, your aging body, your quieter routines, your need for peace and not chaos? Or are they still looking at you like the parent who'll always pick up the pieces? Because you are not who you were 20 years ago, and you shouldn't have to be. You have a right to be loved in the season you're in now, not for what you can do for them, but for who you are. And if they can't see that or don't want to, that's not on you. That's their growing to do, not yours. So if you've ever gotten that text, that knock on the door, that unexpected voice on the other end of the phone asking to come back, take a moment, not out of bitterness, not out of pride, but out of love for yourself. Because letting someone back into your life should never cost you your peace. You've worked too hard for it. Let's keep talking about what happens when that door knocks again. Because there's more you need to ask. More you deserve to know. Before you decide whether to say yes or not this time. So maybe you've asked those first questions. Maybe you've sat across from them or heard their voice on the phone and asked gently but clearly, why now? And what are you expecting from me? And maybe their answers felt sincere, or maybe they didn't. But even if they came from a good place, there's another layer to this conversation that often gets overlooked. And that's the third question you need to ask. What's changed? Because people change, they really do. Life humbles us, teaches us, sometimes knocks us around until we learn the lesson we should have known all along. But not everyone changes in the ways that matter. And not everyone changes enough to deserve a second chance at your time, your energy, or your heart. So ask them, what's different now? About you? About how you see me? About how you'll show up this time? You're not looking for a fancy speech. You're not expecting them to have a perfectly written apology. You're listening for growth, for self-awareness, for signs that they've taken the time to really reflect on how their choices affected you. Because here's what often happens. A child leaves, sometimes abruptly, sometimes with blame, sometimes just with silence. And when they return, they want to jump back in without revisiting what happened, without taking responsibility, without asking if you're okay. But you deserve more than that. You deserve someone who has looked in the mirror and asked themselves, what did I do to contribute to the distance? What part of me needs healing before I try to rebuild this relationship? If they can't answer that, if they just say, I miss you, or I was wrong, without explaining how they've changed, then nothing's really changed at all, and that can be dangerous. Because if they haven't grown, the same patterns can repeat, the same wounds can reopen, and this time, it might take even longer for you to recover. You are not obligated to let someone back into your life just because they say they've changed. You are allowed to ask for proof. Not in a courtroom kind of way, but in a human kind of way. You can say, help me understand what's different now. Help me feel safe enough to trust again. And if they've truly changed, they won't get defensive. They won't turn it around on you. They won't say, are you seriously still bringing that up? Or, why can't you just let the past go? They'll meet your questions with humility, with patience, with the understanding that healing takes time and trust must be rebuilt. That brings us to the next question, one that often reveals more than any other. What do you regret? Really? Not just the fact that things got hard, not just that there's distance, but what choices do they regret making? What words do they wish they could take back? What moments do they now see differently? Because regret without reflection is just noise. It's not enough to say, "I'm sorry," unless they can tell you what they're sorry for. Vaguely saying, "I messed up," or "I should have done better," doesn't hold much weight unless it comes with specifics. And this isn't about making them squirm. This is about seeing whether they truly understand the impact they had on you, whether they realize how lonely it felt when they stopped calling, how painful it was when they chose someone else's opinion over yours, or how hurtful it was when they acted like your love came with strings attached. You're not looking for an apology that makes you feel sorry for them. You're looking for one that makes you feel seen. Because real regret doesn't focus on the consequences they suffered. It focuses on the pain they caused you. And real maturity doesn't run from that. It walks straight into it with open hands and says, "I see now what I didn't see then. I want to make it right." But if they dodge the question, if they shift the blame to you, if they say things like, "Well, I wouldn't have done that if you hadn't," or "You were never really there for me either," that's not regret. That's a rerun of the same movie you've seen before, and you already know how it ends. You've come too far to play a role in someone else's drama. You are not the supporting character in their comeback story. If they want to return to your life, they should come as someone who understands their past, not as someone who's trying to erase it. Now, if you've made it this far in the conversation, there's one more question that truly brings everything into focus. And that is, where do you see us going from here? It sounds simple, but this question is the doorway between the past and the future. Because even if they've grown, even if they're sorry, even if they mean well, if they don't have a vision for what comes next, it's like rebuilding a house without a blueprint. Relationships take direction, intention, clarity, especially in this season of your life, where your time and peace are more valuable than ever. So when you ask, where do you see this going? Listen closely. Are they talking about building a relationship that respects who you are now? Or are they just hoping to slip back into comfort and routine? Do they say things like, "I just want things to go back to how they were"? Because if they do, that might mean they haven't really accepted who you've become. And who you are now may not fit into their old mold. You don't want things to go back. You want things to move forward, thoughtfully, respectfully, at a pace and in a way that honors everything you've been through to get here. And if they say, "I don't know," that's not a deal breaker, but it is a signal that they may not be ready yet, a signal that more conversations are needed before decisions can be made. That's okay, because love, true love, isn't rushed. It's not pushed. It's chosen over and over again, with eyes open and hearts grounded. And that includes love between parent and child. You deserve to know what kind of relationship they want with you now. Is it real? Is it reciprocal? Does it honor who you are today, not just who you were when they were 5 or 15 or 35? And you have every right to say, "Let's take it slow," or "I need some time," or even, "I'm not ready yet." Not out of anger, but out of wisdom, because you are not here to rescue people who aren't ready to do their part. You are here to live your life with peace, clarity, and purpose. And if your child wants to be part of that journey again, they should come with love that's patient, not pressured, with words that mean something, with actions that match. There's still one more piece of this conversation we need to have. But for now, take a deep breath. You're doing the hard work of protecting your heart while keeping it open. And that's not easy. So let's say you've asked those first 4 questions. You've looked your child in the eye, or maybe through a screen, and you've heard their words. You've listened for growth, for regret, for truth. And somewhere inside, you're still wondering one more thing. The question that often matters more than all the others. Do you still love me for who I am today, or just for what I used to give you? It's not a question you always say out loud, but you feel it, don't you? Especially as the years go by. Especially when you've spent time learning how to be at peace with your own company, your own routines, your own quiet. You begin to notice who calls you just to hear your voice, and who only calls when they need something. You start to feel who sees your wisdom, and who still treats you like an emotional ATM, ready to fix what they broke without so much as a thank you. You've been through too much to pretend you're not paying attention. You notice. And maybe your child has changed. Maybe they've grown. Maybe they truly want to reconnect and build something better. That's a beautiful thing. But here's where you need to be deeply honest with yourself. What do you need from them now? Yes, this last question turns the focus back to you, not out of selfishness, but out of balance. Because relationships are not one-way streets, and while your heart may want healing, your spirit needs to know what you truly need. To feel safe, to feel respected, to feel whole. Is it a simple phone call once a week? Is it consistency? Is it hearing, "I'm sorry," without excuses? Is it space or boundaries that were missing before? You have the right to ask that. Not just from your children, but from anyone who wants to be in your life. And here's something even more important. You don't need to justify it. You don't have to explain why you don't want to lend money anymore. You don't need to defend your choice to keep things slow. You don't have to apologize for protecting the peace you worked hard to build. Because too many seniors, especially parents, carry this quiet guilt, this voice that says, maybe I should just forgive and forget. Maybe I'm being too harsh. No, you're being real. You're being wise. You're not shutting the door. You're making sure it opens on your terms. And maybe your child doesn't understand that yet. Maybe they push back saying, "You've changed," or "Why are you being so cold?" But it's not coldness. It's clarity. You've earned the right to say, this time it has to be different. And here's what happens when you honor that voice inside you. The right people stay, and the wrong ones stop trying to manipulate their way in. That includes family. Yes, even your children. Because love is not meant to be used as leverage. And no one, not even your child, has the right to your presence, your home, or your forgiveness, unless they're coming with respect. Now let me say this clearly in case no one else has told you lately. It's okay to want them back. It's okay to hope things get better. It's okay to cry when they say, "I miss you." You're human, and love, especially the love of a parent, doesn't just disappear because someone hurt you. But what's not okay is forgetting your worth in the process. What's not okay is ignoring your instincts just to avoid conflict. And what's never okay is shrinking yourself to make space for someone who still doesn't see your value. So if they're serious about coming back, let them show it. Let them show up not just once, but over time. Let them honor your boundaries, not argue with them. Let them meet you where you are, not where they wish you still were. You've grown, you've evolved, you've been through heartache, loss, maybe even a few goodbyes you didn't see coming. You've rebuilt your life, one quiet morning at a time. That's sacred. That deserves protection. And if your child wants to be part of that now, they need to come with love. That's not just spoken, but proven. They need to come, not because they feel guilty or lonely or in need, but because they see you as a person worth knowing again. Not fixing, not using, but knowing. You don't owe them your past. You don't owe them who you used to be. You owe them honesty. You owe them your truth. And you owe yourself the kind of peace that doesn't depend on someone else's behavior. Now I want to say this as we start to close. Some of you might choose not to let them back. And that's okay. Forgiveness doesn't always mean reconnection. You can forgive someone and still decide not to let them take up space in your life. That is not bitterness. That is strength. And others may choose to open the door, slowly, carefully, maybe even with some hope. That's okay too. As long as you do it from a place of self-respect, not fear, from love for yourself, not just love for them. You get to decide. You hold the power now, not to punish, but to protect, not to control, but to choose. So if this conversation has stirred something in you, if it's brought up memories, feelings, questions, you're not alone. There are so many seniors just like you, quietly navigating what it means to love someone who's hurt them, trying to balance heart and wisdom, trying to find peace, even in the messiness of family. You are not weak for wanting love. You are not foolish for hoping people can change. But you are wise to ask questions. You are brave to want better. And you are strong enough to say, only if it's real this time. Now, if this message spoke to you, I'd love for you to share your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what resonated with you. Tell me what you've been through. You never know who else is reading and feeling less alone because of your story. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel Strong Elderly Life. We talk about real things here, things that matter, that heal, that strengthen. Because no matter how old you are, you deserve a life filled with peace, honesty, and love that lifts you up, not drains you. You deserve connection that feels safe, boundaries that are honored, and relationships that grow with you, not against you. So here's to you, to your strength, to your wisdom, and to the kind of love that doesn't ask you to shrink. Here's to living your best life, at any age.